Kia ora and welcome to Tarmac. I'm Dave.
I'm Matthew, and as you can tell from that slightly familiar but also unusual shape behind us, it is a Lexus, but not as you know it, because this is the Lexus RZ 450e.
That's right, it's the all-electric Radiant Zero. Anyway, come let's take a look at this. Now the RZ should really come with a bit of a drum roll because it is the first dedicated BEV from Lexus. So there was the UX before, but that was kind of a mutation, I can't say mutation, but a movement from a normal ICE engine vehicle into an EV. This is basically from the ground up set out to be a BEV, and this is what it is. So the R, obviously, as I say, stands for Radiant, and the Z stands for zero, as far as zero emissions. And what you've got is a very stunning looking Lexus, which is, like I say, awesome. Taking a look around the front here, what we've got is their freshly designed spindle grille, and you'll notice that it's all sort of closed in because there's no engine behind it as far as a grille goes. So it's a sort of a move towards electrification. A nice camera across here, across the Lexus badge, and they've got the technical gubbins behind there and obviously up the top. The models you've got basically a core, or you've got a dynamic. We've got the dynamic, and this also comes as a direct 4 and an e-axle, so there's lots going on as far as the drive goes. I'll get to that in a moment, but also comes with this sort of two-color paint job. So you've got an exterior color or body color, and also this sort of black paint work across the bonnet and across the, obviously, the grille that's now a closed grille. The lights themselves, LEDs, LED with the DRLs, LED with the blade color or blade shape, and also, well, just LEDs, as you can see. And also they've got a little thing that comes out and keeps them clean as well. And no real vents down the side, although it is very aerodynamic, but plenty of vents under here to make sure you keep the battery cool, and also the motor cool, which is also cool. There's a lot of cool. The big question you got to ask yourself, will it fit in your garage? And as far as length goes, it's 4.8 meters and 1.64 in height. So see how that fits in with what your dimensions are. What you'll notice is it's got a low stance about it, so there's plenty of body weight, or plenty of its 2 tons weight down low as far as the battery goes. And also it's very aerodynamic. I'm not quite sure of what the CD is. I'll see if I can look that up. The rest of it, there's actually 8 body colors, and this one comes with your extended wheel arches across here, which goes across your 20-inch very shiny and very sleek wheels. The door mirrors, as you can see, blacked, along with the roof up here. The roof, which we'll see if we can show you, or Matthew will show you inside, is very funky, but it's a full panoramic roof, which is great. You've got the E-latch as far as doors that open and close, and you can see it's sort of got the sort of wrap around under the sills. Make sure you keep your trousers or your skirt clean. I don't know which one I'm going to wear, but anyway. But the E-latch, as I say, it's kind of a funky feel both inside and out, and Matthew will show you the inside thing. Looking down here, you've got some blackened out paneling down the back here, again with your almost floating roof, and again with some extended wheel arches back here. Now normally, I love this, normally you'd have a nice roofline spoiler that comes across. What they're calling this is a split rear spoiler, and it's just like 2 fangs sticking out. But obviously they know, or Lexus know about aerodynamics, so it's very cool. Blackened out glass, you've got a sort of boot lid sort of lip here, brake light, Lexus badge, LED lights, and also a nice light bar. Things to point out again, the RZ 450e and the Direct 4 as far as the under sort of platform goes, and the wheels and the steering. And also actually a little bit of garnish down the bottom here, but sort of plenty of protection. And when you open up, 522 litres of actually pretty good boot space. Let's see what powers it. What you have behind this flap here is your chargeable access to the battery. The battery itself is a 71.4 kilowatt hour battery and 395 kilometers of total range on WLTP. Maximum charge in an AC situation, sorry, a DC situation, is 150 kilowatts. So plenty of charging ability, which means you can get up and going very quickly. In terms of power, you've got 230 kilowatts of power, and you've got 266.3 newton meters of torque on the front and 168.5 newton meters on the rear. So what that gives combined is plenty of power, plenty of torque, and a 0 to 100 in around about 5 seconds, which is plenty of oomph. Anyway, speaking of plenty of oomph, Matthew's inside and he'll show you what's going on in there.
Yes, it's got plenty of oomph on the side of the power and power delivery, but on the brief when it comes to luxury, well, they really delivered with a full oomph on that part too. Yes, it's Lexus's first ever battery electric vehicle from the ground up, but it's still a Lexus, and what that means is the feeling of luxury is down to the build quality. I mean, the materials used, it's all soft touch. You've got these amazing seats, which are sort of an Alcantara / suede mix, and really firm bolsters, of course heated and ventilated. You've got your big wraparound dash, your Mark Levinson audio, all that good stuff that comes with this sort of area of Lexus luxury. And in particular, Dave remarked earlier about the E-latch on the outside, but it's really the inside where the E-latch gets sort of, I guess, appealing to car nerds and technology nerds, because it's the same piece essentially to both electronically open the door one way, and then you pull it and you basically create the manual override for opening the door if the electronic version fails. So they really have done a lot of thinking right down to the way the latch is. So you can just imagine the engineering thought that's gone into this Lexus RZ. Of course, the old Lexus party trick is there, the double hinged glove box like so. I'll see if I can do it. Yep, this time it works both ways. And then of course you have got the real party trick in this cabin, which is that dual panoramic or dual sunroof. And basically it can go from opaque to clear with just a touch of this button, and it's something that will keep your kids or your family entertained forever, just pressing that constantly and watching the glass sort of change in terms of its visibility. As you can see, the center console is sort of bare of buttons and stuff like that, because all of it is sort of incorporated around this infotainment screen. So obviously you have the screen up top here, but below that you have a permanent menu here for your air conditioning controls, obviously your knobs on either side for the dual zone climate control, and your one in the middle for the audio. You've got your charging ports down there, and of course your camera view and your parking shortcut as well. So really well integrated over here, as well as you are with the car as part of Lexus's Tazuna philosophy, but I'll get into that on the drive. Back to this infotainment screen, so you've obviously got your shortcut menu on the right there with your navigation, your audio connectivity and your phone connectivity, of which you have Bluetooth, you've got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so they've got you completely covered on that side. You can see the little Lexus RZ icon there with the spindle grille, and you click on that and you get access to the 4 different preset driving modes as well as your one custom, and then you can scroll down to go into more customization and the all-wheel drive view as well. In terms of the driving assist, this does come with Lexus's Safety Systems Plus, which means that you really are well covered on the front of the forward collision warning, lane keep assist, blind spot warnings. It's got it all, frankly, and a really good adaptive cruise control as well to add to that. Head down the bottom there to that, and it brings up a more sort of wider view of all of the different customization and modes that you can use with this car. So it's got your comfort, which is in relation to your air conditioning, your cooling and heating, your audio. You've got the driving modes there, head-up display control, as well as the security sensor, and then of course your Safety Systems Plus all along there. So there is really a lot of stuff on this infotainment screen, and neatly integrated too, so you don't need to feel distracted from driving when you use this. On the digital instrument cluster in front of the driver, you've got all of the information displayed around this circle essentially, and in the middle of the circle you have your speed, your gear indicator, and then of course your lane indicator as well, and of course an average efficiency monitor. We have been averaging 4.7 kilometers per kilowatt hour, which is not great, but we haven't been driving it efficiently, you can say. Around the outside of this circle, well, on the right side you've got your charge indicator like so, and then on the left side you have an indicator of your power, essentially whether you're using it to accelerate or whether you're using it to regen and charge the battery. Around it you also have your adaptive cruise control. There's an indicator of how much range you have in terms of kilometers as well, and then of course you've got your speed sign recognition as well as temperature and stuff like that. So a lot of information on there, and similarly plenty to customize with these buttons. But do note that these buttons on the steering wheel don't actually change the setup of that screen in front of the driver. What they do is actually change the amount of information on what's displayed on the head-up display. So it's a really neat integration of when you touch, even a light touch basically activates it, and once you touch that you need to move around with these arrows and then select what you want to change on the head-up display. So there has been plenty of thought into making this touch sensitive or touch capacitive, but at the same time not in an annoying sort of way. The steering wheel itself is a nice soft leather wrapped unit. You've got your thumb grips there, it's heated as well, and you've got your paddle shifts behind, which activate the regenerative braking to different levels rather than a gear shifter, of course. Last but not least is this little black bar you can see here above the steering wheel, which is monitoring you essentially and your level of drowsiness and alertness and so on, to keep the driver safe and alert you when you do need a rest stop and when you should stop driving according to the car's parameters. There you go, keeping the driver safe all around, frankly. Now, part of the Lexus luxury experience obviously is in terms of this rear seat comfort, and the RZ does exceptionally well in that respect, despite the fact that there is a steeply sloping roofline behind, which can sometimes compromise the headroom for the rear passengers. But I'm glad to say, leaning back, you can see I'm 5'10", I've got plenty of headroom up there. Knee room is good too, foot room is great. Obviously the flat floor in the middle does help with having a third passenger in the middle here, and then you also do have two seat heaters, one for each side passenger, two USB-C charging ports as well, again one for each passenger. So they really have thought of the comfort and convenience of passengers back here. Speaking of comfort, this RZ drives extremely well, comfortably, so let's go and take a look at that. Now, before Dave opens his spindle grill, yes, you just saw the wicked acceleration of this RZ on display just now, but before we get into that, I want to talk about Tazuna, which is essentially Lexus's philosophy of the rider taking the reins of the horse and essentially being connected with your vehicle, and that's what they wanted to embody with this Lexus RZ, is the way the driver sits, the way sort of the passengers, everyone in the car is connected to it in a way of driving enjoyment. That's where Tazuna comes from.
And I have to agree, it certainly doesn't give you a long face, because it is a lovely drive, and as Matthew pointed out earlier, it's a smooth drive. We've just been over some like potholes in a disused car park, because that's the sort of quality guys we are, but it just sort of smoothly glides over them. So the ride, including the direct for the e-axle and the whole subframe and BEV platform, it just goes so nicely. It's such a lovely smooth ride.
I mean, it sits on the Lexus ETNGA platform, which is of course familiar to those of you who know your
Toyota.
exactly those products well. But again, it's really a well-worked, well-engineered platform, and you bolt it along with this Lexus body, the luxury that comes with it, and you get a really good luxury EV SUV all around. The downside of all of that luxury, though, and the weight and stuff like that, is the fact that the efficiency isn't great, as we did show you before.
Yeah, it does lack a little bit there, and especially when you're paying quite a high price tag for this vehicle. You're paying for the luxury, but you'd really want to have a little bit more range, in my opinion, as far as, or in our opinion, as far as what you're paying for. But you are, again, on the luxury side of things, you do feel like there's plenty of stuff going on in here. I mean, the roof alone, I think, is, apart from the fact that it feels a bit like a toilet. I don't know what toilet you go into, but you can sort of flick it on and flick it out and see what's going on outside and not. It's kind of cool. And the shag pile carpet and the feel of the leather and the fabrics and things like that. It's just so much going on in a Lexus shell.
It is, it might be an EV, and of course, as we mentioned a couple of times before, Lexus's first battery electric vehicle from the ground up. But again, nothing has changed on the inside and on that Lexus luxury experience, because they have really delivered in all respects there. Everywhere you touch, what you sit, the carpet, of course, feels like home. Actually, I've got to say, it feels extremely comfortable, and you almost want to take your shoes off and just sort of sink your feet into that carpet too. So in that respect, they have done a great job, but with adding plenty of technology to it, as Lexus does as well, with the safety systems, plus with that, as much as it is cool, it is a little bit gimmicky, that dual sunroof as well, and of course the Mark Levinson audio system, which comes as part of these more premium Lexus's offerings.
And that's not gimmicky at all, it's just a great sound. Love the big screen, love the amount of information you get thrown at you, and also the touch capacitive stuff that shows up on the head-up display is really good. I really enjoy the weight of the steering's nice, visibility all round is good, even through the back windscreen, and also I have a lot of fiddling around with these paddles to sort of slow up, and it's got 4 different brake zones or regenerative brake zones, and what that means is that you can go all the way down to the 4th one and the brake lights come on. It doesn't come to a one pedal driving situation, but it does pull up reasonably well. In terms of cabins, it's very quiet in the cabin. It's very isolated from, or insulated from outside, and there's no wind noise, there's no road noise. It's a terrific feel.
And again, there's no sort of, I don't think there's been any compromise on the part of your interior feeling and luxury. Whether it's the front seat or the back seat, you're really well kitted out all around, and you get to enjoy that pure Lexus experience.
The Direct 4 as well feels very sure-footed when you're cornering, and I mean, even in these sort of bumpy places, you've got no fear about going anywhere or doing anything. It's not an off-roader, don't get me wrong, but it just feels like you can corner well. You're ready to go, like I said, in places that you probably wouldn't be able to or shouldn't in other EV SUVs.
Absolutely right. Adding that Direct 4 system has just made this SUV all that more capable. For example, in a country like ours, where about 70% of the roads are gravel, and to different extents, I guess, challenging for cars, this Lexus will have no problem going anywhere, frankly, in New Zealand.
So there you have it, the new Lexus RZ. R for radiant, and aren't we all very radiant? And Z for zero, so zero emissions, and actually zero sound inside. It's really quiet and, radiant drive.
And while it is Lexus's first BEV or battery electric vehicle from the ground up, there's no mistaking it. I think design-wise or quality-wise, it's still pure Lexus.
Totally correct. Nicely put. Anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.